Hello and greetings everyone. My name is Steve. Welcome Bull Runners. Welcome to the Bull Runners community. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day today. In this video today, the topic is watch out for these pitfalls. As this meme frenzy is going on, zero tax, inflated volume, and with all these sandwich attacks, I want to highlight 3 different strategies certain scammers are using to wheel you into the project and just drain you from your liquidity. As we're going through this frantic meme coins madness, I just want to inform the community public as a whole of these 3 different strategies that these scammers are using to wheel you in and just drain you out of your liquidity. Let's start right away with the first strategy. The first strategy they do is that I need you to pay attention to is they start trading among themselves. You see traders here trading among themselves. And as you see on the right side, these are multiple buys and sells that just trade you, wheel you in, and then as the liquidity fills up and you see it just goes straight up. There's not a single big sell. So they just wheel you in, and if you look at here, you see personal tax modification. This means that individual addresses can be targeted and then modify the sales tax for them. And that's basically a honeypot. As you see here, it's a honeypot, and you've been throwing your funds in here, and then they target your address. You won't be able to sell. It's a honeypot, and then they take all the liquidity out of it, and that's how you locked in there, and you can't sell, you can't transfer your assets, and then they drain the liquidity. And that's the first way they do it. So pay attention to these projects that you see are trading among themselves, just buying, selling, mainly buying, and just pushing the chart up, and then you barely see any single buyers. You only see like themselves. They trade amongst themselves to inflate the chart, and then before you know, they lock you out. You won't be able to sell, and they drain the liquidity, and that's how they get you. And as you see here, the team drained close to 59 ETH, and that's how they drain the liquidity. So that's the first strategy. The second strategy they use, it was popular with this token called HA. What usually they do, this project start with a relatively very high volume and very high liquidity, and also a very high market cap. So it seems like these are legitimate high investors. It's an established project, but if you check, they just launched like a couple hours ago. They'll start with high volume, high liquidity, and high market cap, and then they'll just start dumping on you slowly. So this is an example here. This is the current one right here. This is the latest one. This is how it starts. As you see, liquidity is 1.15 million. And this is a token that was just made May 9th. So just a couple hours ago, past midnight, May 9th. It's barely 24 hours old, but it already has a 1.15 million in liquidity. Volume is closing in on 17 million, and the market cap is 5.24 million. So this is the second trick they use on you, and then they just start draining. As you see, it just keeps going down, and then the end result will look like this one. This was one of them, and then they'll just drain it out until it goes down to 0. So that's the second strategy they use. Be aware of that if you see high volume, high market cap, and high liquidity from the very beginning, and then this is what it will look like. This is the second one, pitfall you should look for. And then the third one is just the one that is the most blatant, where you just like the exit liquidity. Let's face it, with all these tokens coming out and just flooding the market right now, there's a lot of fear of missing out going on right now on a lot of people, because the market has been cold. There's really not much going on. So a lot of people are FOMOing in these different coins. And this, of course, is being completely taken advantage by these scammers. And they really take advantage of the investors that way. So it's a real hype right now, and people just are fearful of missing out on things. The third and final one is just the obvious one, the exit liquidity part. One other strategy they use is, if you pay attention here, each time an individual purchases something, first of all, they get sandwiched. They get sandwiched by the front runner bot. The MEV bot purchases something right before you, inflates the price. You purchase it at an inflated price, and then they sell it. So you're already at a deep loss from the get-go. That's the first thing. And then also, each time, if you notice, individuals purchase, like this individual right here, there's always an immediate on the same block. You see, the time is the same. 8:09:47 seconds. 8:09:47 seconds. Each time an individual purchases, they sell right away. Right after they purchase, they sell. Not only is there an immediate sell after somebody purchases, but they also drain the liquidity randomly. As you see with this famous Jared from Subway bot, they just keep draining the liquidity out of the projects and making sure they do three things. They do sandwich attacks by front running you. Whenever somebody purchases, they sell right away to ensure that they drain the liquidity that you just put in. And if you calculate, 0.44, 0.42, and 0.17, so basically whatever was put in by this individual is diluted. It's taken out right away. So this is what they do. Like, they drain you, like I say, they drain you through sandwiching you, they drain you through front running you, and then they drain you also by doing immediate sells right after you purchase on the same block. This is how they ensure that the liquidity is being drained out of it and really taken out of the project right away. So the name of the game is volume, because volume is what attracts people. Volume is what gets them trending, brings eyeballs to the project, and then they just drain the project off of the liquidity that way. So this is something you really have to pay attention to and be aware of as you are jumping into these degen plays that are just here for the season. And with that said, I just want to bring awareness to this community, is that in this crypto space, it's a cold place. I just wanted to create this video to just point out these 3 different items that you need to be mindful of in case you get pulled into all this FOMO. Just be mindful that these are the tricks that are being used. These are the scams that are being used to drain you from your liquidity. And I can't leave without saying, this is the problem that we're facing in the space right now. And this puts a very bad reputation in the crypto space. And these are the things that we looked at, Bullrun looked at, and identified that liquidity is already a very scarce resource. And for a platform, it's important that you retain it and not drain it. So these scammers are actually draining the liquidity from you by using front-runner bots, sandwiching you, draining the liquidity with every purchase. And this zero tax projects, let's just face it how it is. It's not sustainable because it takes new buyers to come in order for the older buyers to get out. So all the newcomers in these zero tax projects are exit liquidity, because how else is zero tax going to sustain a project? Think about it. It just doesn't make sense. It's all about sustainability. And this is why I want to take my time briefly and just show you that Bullrun does this completely different. It identified these issues even from the last Bullrun already, and identified that liquidity is a very scarce commodity, and we need to build an ecosystem around this to solve the liquidity issue. And that's exactly what we did. We built an ecosystem with the purpose is to solve this liquidity issue. And there's a very simple mechanism built around this to be a healthy and sustainable platform for both the traders and the holders. And this is how it works. First of all, with every trades, we have taxes. You need taxes to sustain an ecosystem, and these taxes go towards sustaining the platform. You need to retain liquidity to be sustainable. These are high volume projects. Like with these zero tax projects, the volumes are extremely high, and Bullrun was built to capture that. Like if these volumes were brought to Bullrun, it captures that, captures the liquidity, and it builds the exit liquidity for you, so that you are not the exit liquidity. And we're using a combination of adding liquidity and banning tokens from Uniswap as well. So in that way, there's less and less BRL tokens in there, meaning that there's more liquidity, exit liquidity being retained for the traders. And it's not like zero tax that is not sustainable. Every new person coming in is just being the exit liquidity. But this is a platform that was built to actually retain liquidity for you and remove more BRL tokens also from Uniswap. And another thing also is that for those who decide to hold and stake, they are benefiting from the volume too, because 2% of that is going towards USDC distribution. So the traders can trade, and as they're trading, there's enough liquidity for them to trade. And the holders can also hold, because if they decide to stake, they're getting the USDC distributions. And this mechanism makes the project sustainable in the long run, because you have now a mixture of traders and holders. The traders can trade and generate volume, and the holders can hold and can participate in the USDC distributions they receive from the trades that are going on. So it's a win-win for them, and as this platform is being used, it retains liquidity and it's sustainable over the long run. All I want to point out is that Bull Run was specifically built to solve this liquidity challenge. It's a very scarce commodity, and if you're in a platform that is actually draining you out of your liquidity, front running you, and actually doing sales right after you purchase to drain your liquidity that you just put in, these are the scams that are going on right now that you need to pay attention to. And these are the items we've looked at with Bull Run and identified that it's time to look out for the community, because nobody out here is looking out for you. Everybody's looking out for their own wallets, for their own pockets. And Bull Run was completely built. It came with a dual staking platform, with the NFT boosters that we have. Every revenue that comes from the sales of the NFT boosters go towards the liquidity as well. So this is a platform that was strictly built to solve the liquidity challenge, and also to protect individuals from being drained out of their liquidity by actually retaining liquidity for traders, and by giving back to those who are holding and decide to stake, and to build a platform with mechanisms in mind that are actually sustainable over the long run. You want to have a platform that is working for you, that is retaining liquidity for you, so that you are not the exit liquidity, but rather the ecosystem is built in a way that it retains enough liquidity for you so that you are not the exit liquidity. Be aware of these scams that I just pointed out. These are the 3 different ways they get you, and this is just sad in the space, and we are very proud to say that we've built this ecosystem with this in mind, that we don't want the community to be taken advantage of, for projects to be drained out of the liquidity. This is how we protect ourselves from these bots. These MEV bots are draining funds from projects, hundreds of thousands, if not millions a day. And these are funds that would be getting back to the community and to the holders of these projects. And these projects are being drained out of the liquidity. And who knows, maybe they're in it with these MEV operators. Who knows? But they're using volume to be trending and to bring attention, because volume brings liquidity. And then once you bring your liquidity to these projects, they drain them out from you, and they keep it low with these 3 different strategies to ensure that they drain you completely out of your liquidity. Watch out for these pitfalls, community. This is very sad to see, and I don't want any of you to be burnt that way. And that's why I said this platform, Bull Run, was built with a purpose, and this purpose was to keep the community safe from all these MEV bots, from all these front running, from draining your project from your liquidity. We do the exact opposite. We actually retaining liquidity and giving back to the community, to the holders, and ensuring that we have a sustainable platform that is here to stay with the best interest of the community. Be aware, be careful as you tread and FOMO into this short-term degen plays. This is the message for today. I want to wish everyone a wonderful rest of their day. And as always, let's keep in touch.